following program has a mature theme and may not be suitable for family viewing. Parental discretion is advised.
And welcome to a special Memorial Day-ish edition of the Oddity Archive. I mean, we're not going into war territory or anything like that today, but we are going military today. Granted, in the absolute loosest, most casual way possible. So, with that little teaser in mind, today's episode has actually been a really, really long time coming. Back in 2016, a veteran viewer sent me this VHS tape, and you'll see it a little later today. But it was all stuff that had been recorded while stationed at Ramstein Air Base in Germany, of course, all off of the Armed Forces network. And so at the time, I thought maybe I'll try and do the history lesson thing for this. But I learned very quickly that it's a very long, very deep history. It's really not conducive to web videos, or if it were, it'd be a multi-part thing. And I just don't think I'm qualified. At the very least, I think it should be done by somebody who was in the military at some point, ideally assigned to the Armed Forces Network. So I shifted focus, and in the would-be commercial breaks on the Armed Forces Network, there's a certain amount of goofiness, a certain amount of archive-worthy stuff. So it became all about trying to accrue an episode's worth of that material.
And now an important message for the American military community in Germany. Information on the German census.
Hi, I'm Major Bernie Donahue from the Office of the Staff Judge Advocate at headquarters USAFE. You've probably heard about the German census. It's coming up on Monday.
If you live off coast or off base, you might be approached by a German census taker. As a member of the visiting forces in Germany, you are exempt from the census, as are your dependents. If you're a civilian employee of the U.S. government, you fall into the same category.
Well, as it turns out, accruing an episode of this stuff was not an easy task. Who'd have thunk it? You know, the military being a little buttoned down. So anyway, before we start looking at material proper here, let me try and fill you in as much as necessary, because I know it's mostly civilians and non-Americans that watch Archive. So with that, the Armed Forces Network, henceforth AFN, cherry-picks shows from back in America, both network and syndication, and they're usually about a year old by the time they air on AFN. True government efficiency. Now, since it's considered non-commercial, though you do get the stray kind of quasi-commercial in there, they have to fill those commercial breaks with something. So the primary thing that they plug those breaks with are PSAs, public service announcements. But these are not the ones that we see on TV here in America. These were made by and for the military. And shock of shocks, they can be a little bit on the amateur side at times.
What now, Bill?
I finally got it. My money saved me idea to suggested work.
And my pen, where's my pen? Here, hold these.
My idea. I forgot my idea.
Don't you forget to remember Suggestion Awards.
So, to kick things off, let's start with as close to traditional commercials as we're gonna see today. These are all for a little thing called Aafes, or as my parents used to call it, Aafes. But yeah, AAFES. Army and Air Force Exchange Service, also known as the BX or the PX, Base Exchange or Post Exchange. And yeah, get used to a whole lot of acronyms and contractions and stuff today. But anyway, Aafes is basically like a Target or a Walmart with a liquor store built in, and you could get a few groceries there, albeit usually more of the junk food variety. So anyway, I guess this is the point where I finally fully admit that I was a military brat. My dad was in the Air Force, and incidentally, this is how we landed in beautiful downtown Aurora way back when. He got stationed at Buckley Air Force Base. But yeah, as such, I got to spend a whole lot of time growing up at the commissary, a grocery store, and Aafes. And my dad really loved those places, largely because you didn't have to pay sales tax. So yeah, these ads carry a certain weird nostalgia, perhaps unwanted for me. I'm pretty convinced that I saw some of these at the time. Now, I was never overseas or anything, but it seems like they would run these things in the store, like in the electronics department. So yeah, this seemed to hit a few notes with me personally. Now, earlier on, I discussed AFN being non-commercial television. So yeah, Aafes couldn't advertise whatever was on sale. But they had some kind of sneaky ways of dealing with this stuff. So for example, it would be, come into Aafes and get our latest flyer, and it would just so happen to have whatever was on sale on the front page at the moment. Or come into Aafes for the ice cream flavor of the month, but it would be some ridiculously specific flavor, like some flavor that only one brand of ice cream would make.
On the road again. Da, 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 da. You know, Aafes has about 3,000 trucks, many just like this one, making deliveries in the U.S. and overseas. And Aafes truckers log about 10 million miles a year, bringing merchandise to exchanges in 22 countries. Somewhere in the world, an Aafes driver's making a delivery right now. Ooh, that reminds me. I better get going. Bye.
The Aafes Deferred Payment Plan is an exclusive service offered only to customers assigned overseas. You have 3 convenient ways to make a payment. At the DPP counter in the store, at drop boxes also located in the store, or the easiest of all, by mail. The mail-in method avoids waiting in line, is free using APO mail, and lets your canceled check be your receipt. If you use the Deferred Payment Plan, make your payments by mail. It's easy.
Sometimes when you go shopping, stuff just doesn't seem to fit right. Well, don't worry. At Aafes, you can get free alterations. At your BX and PX, it's easy. And they'll make you look like $1 million. Just like me. Just check with them for details.
It's the last holiday season of the millennium. This year, make it one to remember. Your exchange has made it easy with their new A Holiday to Remember catalog. It's full of all sorts of exciting gifts and decorations to brighten up your home this joyful season. Phone in your order 24 hours a day. Charge it. Have it delivered to your door in time for Christmas. And don't forget, you can shop us on the internet from any of these web locations. Pick up your copy of A Holiday to Remember exchange catalog today.
The Aafes special ice cream flavor for November and December, cherry amaretto cordial.
There was a pretty famous saying back in World War II, loose lips sink ships. In other words, you never know who might be listening in at a given moment. So officially, within the realm of the US military, this comes down to a little thing called OPSEC, or Operations Security. And it's really just as implied, you know, don't be blabbing about even really being in the military, especially when you're stationed overseas, and especially if you had a couple of drinks first. So anyway, with that brings us to our first proper block of PSAs here. And dare I say, this kind of chronicles the evolution of these things. You can see by the end, they started to get reasonably creative. No less goofy, though.
Oh, yeah, I talk to wife quite a bit about what happens at work. I mean, it helps me to unwind. I mean, take, for instance, this FTX that's upcoming next month in Grafton. We've got 137 people in our unit. 20 of them are on leave, 4 on emergency leave, 2 in the hospital. I mean, it makes you wonder about the rest. Not only that, but I've got 36 vehicles to get ready in 4 days, and I'll be very much surprised if even half of them start. Let me get you another drink. You know, sometimes Bob talks a little too much. Doesn't mean anything by just talking. Like his wife's Monday night get-togethers, his son's government class, and now everybody in the club. I wonder who else here.
Oh, we won't be able to make it this week. He'll be training in the field.
Yeah, I'm gonna play Army with the beat-up motor pool. Just kidding. Really, we're full strength. Ready for it.
Hold it right there. Some people just talk too much. And when you're talking about military matters, the risk is greater that someone will listen.
He used to come in every night. Now he's back. We must watch his every move for clues to where he's been. We must make contact with him.
It is vital to our cause.
Oh, no, I'm so clumsy. I'm dreadfully sorry.
Nonsense. It was all my fault.
Here, let me help. Gosh, that's really a warm coat.
Do you have anyone special to spill your drinks on?
Oh, Sam, you're so romantic. So tell me, Sam, what brings you to this war-torn country?
Oh, nothing special.
Sam, they don't take Zirakis here. You're so mysterious. I'll bet you lead a very exciting life.
I wish, but I'm just a meat and potatoes working stiff.
I'll bet there's more to you than meets the eye.
Times may change, but maintaining good OPSEC is always important.
Come on, you can tell me.
One thing I found especially amusing when I was digging through the final candidates for this episode were the PSAs that were just common sense stuff. And I mean common sense to the point where, by and large, you do not see ads for this stuff on civilian television back in the States. I mean, there are some PSA greatest hits here, like don't drive drunk, don't drive distracted. But then you get to that stuff that really should not need an ad at all. Like, don't smack random women's bottoms, and don't hook the jumper cables to the wrong battery terminals, and don't make really long overseas phone calls because it's, really expensive, and, real gems like that.
A couple of bucks? Yeah, that's good for a cold couple of beers. Man, they sure go down good after a hard day's work, don't they? You know what, though? Some people actually try to drive after a cold couple of brews, and some people ruin lives and careers over a cold couple of beers. So enjoy a cold one or two when you can, but don't drive that way, because a couple of beers can really cost you.
Hi, Jim. You ready to go? Sure am. How you doing, buddy? Very funny. Hey, look what we got here. You gotta see these. Pictures of my leave. Hey, not right now, Jim. I'm trying to drive. Hey, how about some tunes? Come on, Jim, knock it off. I'm trying to concentrate.
Hey, did you hear the one about the chicken who crossed the road? It was, his feet were too big.
Let's face it, acting like a clown while someone else is driving just isn't funny. Be a responsible passenger.
An AM/FM portable cassette radio. 20th century technology. Amazing, isn't it? You can carry it anywhere. And if you like to jack the volume up when you go to the PX or commissary or on the U-Bot, then you really got something going. Unfortunately, that's the attitude of many people who own these things, called being inconsiderate, self-centered, having bad taste, and just plain selfish. When in public, turn it down.
playful fun. Women call it sexual harassment. With your behavior, where do you draw the line?
Jumper cables have what you might call a beef with some of you folks out there. A beef, yeah, beef. Some of you have a real bad habit of mistreating us. You know, using us the wrong way. The wrong way, yeah, the wrong way. We even got proof here. Watch this. Look at that. I'm shocked. Unbelievable. Turn it off. I can't watch. Now watch this. Here's what you ought to do when you need to use us. Always hook the positive cable to the positive terminal on the batteries, starting with the dead battery. Next, hook the negative cable to the negative terminal on the live battery. Finally, hook the other end of the cable to the engine of the car, which has the dead battery. Got it? So you see, all you gotta do is treat us right and we'll help you. No sweat.
All right, I promised I'd get back to this one. Back in 2016, a viewer sent me this VHS tape, which he recorded off AFN while stationed in Germany back in the early 2000s. And if you happen to see this episode, Jeremy, many, many very belated thanks for sending this in. But anyway, apparently he really dug the, at this point, long-forgotten primetime drama Boston Public, to the point where a certain amount of commercial cutting was going on. Tisk tisk. But yeah, about halfway through the tape, the ephemera starts to kick back in. So this next segment is really kind of intended to be a catch-all for the stuff that did not get its own segment in the episode. So consider this almost like just watching a normal show on AFN or watching all of primetime and seeing the weather update, news updates, little historical bits, and of course more PSAs. But anyway, there are some things that I am not covering at all in this episode because I'd like to keep the door open for Volume 2. So yeah, there were things like sign-offs, or maybe I'll do another sign-offs episode someday. But anyway, I'm off track here. Before you ask, yes, I will post as much of this as I can get away with to Archive Annex. Some of it involves, you know, real big hit songs, so whatever YouTube allows, at least.
Good evening. This is an AFN Newsline update from our European Broadcast Center in Frankfurt, Germany. I'm Sergeant Steve German. This year, many Christmas lists are topped with PlayStation 2, the Xbox, and GameCube. Gaming rookies, serious gamers, even Santa Claus seem to be unsure of what game will be best for them.
PlayStation 2 currently has 56 titles in our store. The PlayStation 2 will play DVDs. It's DVD compatible. It has the option to do online gaming, and it's going for $2.99. Throughout Europe, all of the power zones will be carrying these systems if they are available.
That's your update. AFN Primetime continues. Enjoy your evening.
Now, from the AFN Weather Center, a European weather update.
I'm Air Force weather forecaster Jerome Adams, and this is your European update. Lows will drop into the 20s tonight. Tomorrow, all our sites will see snow, with those in Frankfurt seeing a bit of rain mixed in as well. Highs will be near freezing on Thursday. Moving south, where it will be a relatively cool and quiet night, look for variable cloudiness across the region, with overnight lows dropping to the mid-30s and below. Tomorrow brings showers and a high of 57 to La Maddalena.
Excuse me, are you Santa Claus? I heard you might be him. If you are him, here's my list.
Help the Marines make Christmas possible for less fortunate children. Donate a new toy to Toys for Tots.
In 1858, Senator Stephen Douglas asked his friend General James Denver to help him name a new U.S. territory located up in the mountains. General Denver no doubt knew that Spanish explorers had called the entire mountainous country to the west Montaña del Norte, and he proposed the name Montana. Douglas's territory never came to be.
If you suspect fraud, waste, or abuse, it's important to remember the 5 W's. First, who committed the suspected fraud, waste, or abuse? What actions caused your suspicions? When did it happen? Where did it occur? And finally, why do you think it happened? If you suspect fraud, waste, or abuse, remember the 5 W's and report it.
Let's go. Whoa.
Welcome to Saucer 51.
Howdy, howdy. The name's Herb. These alien fellas here signed me to be your sponsor. Come on, I'll show you around. So, did you get the orientation package I sent you on your new location?
Is that what that was?
Hi, Greblik, how's it going? Let me give you a few words of advice. First, the food here's great, except on Wednesday. Skip that Centurion chowder. You, sweet. Don't are you nuts? Take that mask off. What was that? Oh, nothing. Just the traffic to Orion. Don't worry, you'll love it here.
Many times a newcomer's first impression of a new location comes from his or her sponsor. And a sponsor with a positive attitude can make any place seem inviting.
I'm starting to like this place. You'll love it. Wait till you see the zero-G handball court.
I need a passport.
Why is that?
First grade is way too stressful, so I'm running away to Rio.
Well, you're going to need both your parents' permission.
Can't we just ask my dad? Mom wouldn't understand.
Sorry, but mine is under the age of 14, must show consent from both parents before they can get a U.S. passport.
Oh.
I am an American.
I am an American.
I am American.
I am America.
I'm an American.
I'm an American.
I'm an American.
I am an American.
I am an American.
Pardon me for saying so, but you don't look so good.
Well, look who's talking. Gee, hey, I'm sorry. It's just that my operator loaded another freeware program into my system. I feel so fat and sluggish I can hardly think straight.
Yeah, I know how you feel. I think there was something in that last shareware download. I think I'm gonna crash.
Excuse me, I couldn't help overhearing. You know, I just got that same shareware on my hard drive, and hey, I'm doing fine.
Well, that doesn't matter. What's okay on one computer may be a real headache for another. You know, I got a CPU that's running like molasses.
Oh, don't mention food.
They all know they have to go through their system administrator before they go adding new software.
You know, I guess some people just don't listen.
I only wish somebody was listening now.
As per usual with these more montage-driven episodes, I've saved the weirdest for last. As such, as it worked out this time, with one exception, this is the military at its most amateur. Now, as far as subject matter goes, this is going to be the eclectic one. We're going to hit on everything from just how great the recreation area on base is to the abject horror of rabies. With that, in honor of this last block of PSAs, I've assigned it its own name and rank. Stand up and salute, General Weirdness.
That was a great number, Sam. Speaking of numbers, the one on our screen is the number to call for the Customs Hotline.
Right, Jerry. While we're waiting for our phones to ring, let's tell the folks about the Customs Hotline.
Great idea. Folks, when you call the Customs Hotline, we'll answer your questions about
importing your POV, taking firearms back to the States.
We'll answer questions about alcohol and tobacco restrictions and problems you may encounter when returning to the U.S. with pets.
Didn't have much money my last tour here in Germany as a PFC, but I remember the barbecues, free of charge. Spent a lot of time playing cards and saw some really good movies right in here, all free. The game room, spent a lot of time shooting pool, playing shuffleboard. Everything was free. Loved it. Glad to see it again, and to know that it's still all free. A lot of good memories.
And memories are free at your rec center.
When you move into off-base housing, protecting your rights as a tenant is just as important as protecting your household goods. A lease is a a legal contract between landlord and tenant. A good lease locks in all the protection you'll need. For military families, the lease must contain a military clause. If you receive orders to move, the military clause allows you to cancel your lease without it costing you an arm and a leg. A good lease spells out who's responsible for what damage and how it gets paid for.
Hi, can I help you?
Yeah, I was thinking about doing some camping this weekend and thought maybe you could help me.
Say no more.
From backpacks and baseballs to camp stoves and sleeping bags, everything for outdoor fun. And bring a friend along to your nearest morale support activity equipment checkout center.
I crossed the ocean to be near you, our dreams together so clear. I've been waiting long now for you, and still you are not here. I don't know why you left me. I do not wish to stay. Oh, won't you come and get me? We'll leave this place today.
When your privately owned vehicle arrives, don't leave it on the lot. Dial Bremerhaven Military 8167 before your car starts to rot.
There isn't room for all of us, see? So come and get me. Sincerely, your P.O.V.
Happiness is a warm puppy. The warm puppy, death if he has rabies. One little nip that just breaks the skin from that cuddly little scamp, and you are dead without prompt medical treatment. There's only one known case of recovery from rabies once its symptoms appeared, and that recovery is only partial. There are no guarantees but one: certain death without treatment. Want to pet the puppy?
Sometimes being in a new and different environment can be a little peculiar. It can be hard to communicate if you're not familiar with local customs. And even though you may try to be friendly, others may not understand your language. Hi. Your intentions may be good, but it's equally important to take the time to gain a little basic knowledge about your surroundings so that you can learn to appreciate other people's culture. Making an effort to learn about customs, language, and local laws will not only help you get along better in your new situation, it will make you a better representative of the USA. Flap! And you could make some very interesting new friends, too.
Well, that's it for today's OA. Join me next time when I go MIA from the MPs, trying to avoid KP duty, because I tell ya, my CO is one BMF, and that's no BS. And of course, while all this is going on, yeah, I'll crank up a little CCR on the old R2R.
Within the final moments of 1981, we stop and search our memories for the good that has been done. We think about Americans held captive under guns. We shed our tears, we jumped for joy at the return of 51. Sat and watched Columbia to space with two brave men. Months later, despite delays, the Columbia, she did